everyone. Teri Wellbrock here, host of the Healing Place podcast. Just taking a moment before today's, again, another special episode of the Healers of Hilton Head series. Even if you do not live in Hilton Head, South Carolina, or the surrounding areas, the Lowcountry, these interviews are just jam-packed with amazing content on healing modalities and hope and inspiration and motivation. And many of these folks that I'm talking to, these beautiful souls doing healing work, can connect with folks all over the world. So please reach out to them. The beauty of Zoom, one of the gifts that came out of our pandemic was the ability to start connecting with others via Zoom and those kinds of platforms wherever we are in the world. So it's just brought us all together, and I love that. I love the idea of that. Again, here to celebrate that my rash from the mycotoxin poisoning that I had from mold toxicity. Oh my gosh, it looks so much better. I'm currently reading a book on healing psoriasis naturally, and because one of the symptoms that arose out of that exposure was an autoimmune response of psoriasis, and so my body started attacking itself, and I've just had this horrific rash for, gosh, over a year. And now today I'm wearing shorts because I know it's December in Hilton Head, South Carolina, and it's gorgeous today. I mean, blue skies, and I think it's in the mid or to upper 70s. So I'm in shorts, and I love it because I look down and I don't have these blotches all over. They're white blotches now, but that means they're healing. So always looking for those ways to help my body. I introduced 2 new teas. One is a slippery elm bark, and another one is American saffron. So I'm utilizing those, continuing with my Epsom salt baths with some Aztec healing clay. And just again, changing the foods that I eat. I've been on a restricted diet for a while and adding foods back in, but I'm really being cognizant about those that have an impact, particularly nightshades when it comes to psoriasis. So I'm just learning a lot. So my point being, whatever's going on in your life, research, be your own advocate, be your own hero. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Keep fighting, keep seeking answers. That's one of my biggest messages to folks is you can do this, and use your voice. Use your voice to seek answers and find solutions that work for you. We're not cookie cutter. What works for someone else may not work for you, but don't be afraid to try things. And obviously, I always have to say, speak to your medical practitioner before introducing new things, especially if you're on medications, to make sure that there aren't interactions with that. So, all right, with that being said, another wonderful edition of the special Healers of Hilton Head series. Thanks. Enjoy. Welcome, everybody, to the Healing Place podcast. I'm your host, Teri Wellbrock, and another edition of the special series, Healers of Hilton Head. And I think I've said on some of the other episodes, but I'm just going to say again, the purpose of this series is not just to shine a light on these beautiful healers that are here in the Lowcountry area and Hilton Head Island, but as a way for you, as you sit in your corner of the world, to just listen to all of these modalities that are available so you can look in your own community to see what's open to you. So today I have Tanya Colucci here with me. Tanya is an expert shaman, ordained minister, massage therapist, energy healer, author, and speaker. She holds an MS in Health Promotion Management from American University and a BS in Exercise Science. So welcome, Tanya.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Well, again, I told you, I looked at your list on when I first started researching you and stalking your website and all that stuff, Oh my gosh, the work you're doing, sacred soul coaching, that right there, I was like, oh, I want to do it. That just sounds so awesome to me. But I know one of the main things that you do is my is it myofascial?
Myofascial release, yes.
Myofascial release. Yes. So can you just talk to us a little bit about what is that?
Sure. It's probably, when I see people one-on-one in person, it's probably one of the main modalities that I use. I'm trained with John Barnes, who's the creator of Myofascial Release. So it's a very unique form of body work that I look at your whole body as one unit to see where you're out of balance or out of alignment. And I use my hands to apply a gentle to moderate pressure to release tightness in your body that your body's creating, that's creating any symptoms that you might be having, whether it's physical pain, emotional, digestive issues, headaches. The fascial system is everywhere in our body. So it's the outer layer of every cell. So physically, it's the only system that connects all the other systems of the body. But most people that come to me because they are or have been having a chronic issue for a long time. But the longer that I work with people with doing the body work, where my coaching comes into play is that I do a lot of dialoguing with clients, because our consciousness flows through our fascial system. It's the superhighway. So anything that we experience in our life, emotions, traumas, surgeries, it actually is trapped. When they say our body keeps score, it's actually trapped in the tissues of our body. And so a lot of chronic issues that people are having, it's not just rooted in the physical body. I like to look at that physical body as the roadmap to the soul, and that aching back that just won't go away is likely a sign from your higher self at a soul level that there's really deeper healing that you're desiring on a deeper level. And we get there through the awareness of our physical body, going into those feelings and sensations to start to let some of the stored tissue memory that's stuck in there, whether it be suppressed emotions, trauma, imprints that we've experienced that our body hasn't had the opportunity to fully release out. So a lot of people that I work with, I really enjoy working with people that want to go deep and do the deep healing work, because most people's physical stuff is rooted in trauma and other suppressed emotions that just need to come out. So I use that form of body work to help kind of get in there and get people to start tuning in to themselves at a deeper level. And then I use some of the coaching work to help people bring more awareness and tune in to what it is that's in their heart, so that they can really tap into what it is they want, need, and desire in their life, and they can start unfolding and releasing the things that are kind of stuck, preventing them from living their truth. So that's the main thing that I do. But I do work with clients like long distance, and I can do healing work that way too, and bring in the coaching that way. So I just love empowering people to take their power back by tapping into themselves, to allow their natural inner healing ability to kick in to do its job.
Yes. Oh, you're speaking to my soul, because I'm so on board with all of it, and say yes, amen. I know, and you had recently invited me to participate in a healing session that was, oh my gosh, so incredibly powerful. And so I just love the work you're doing. There was someone else was leading it, and there was chanting, and I mean, like, I was tearing up, like I had tears falling down my face.
Two of my dear friends and colleagues, Candace Blair and Jessica Golden, they actually live in the area, but we were all in separate places at the moment. It was on Lionsgate 88. So we all came together with our skills, and I did crystal bowl sound healing and distance healing. And Candace did like a little guided meditation, and Jessica did, a chant with the harmonium. And so it was really to bring in all those energies that were coming in on that kind of galactic portal day of 8/8 to, just bring ourselves together and help offer some of that healing energy and hold space for people to bring that in. So, yeah.
Beautiful. Well, and I love what you said about fascia. And sorry if I'm not saying it right, but I had read somewhere, or someone had told me that, our hearts pump our blood through our system, like, right? But our fascia, doesn't it need to like move and be stimulated, and so that it can release? But we have to like do it ourselves, right? Like exercise does it, right?
Well, so the fascia, when it's healthy, on each individual microfiber of the fascia, there's actually a gel-like substance called ground substance. And when it's healthy, it's very pliable and fluid-like. But what happens is, through the inflammatory response in our body, so whether it's emotional stress, physical stress, whether we're moving, not moving, traumas that we've experienced in space, that gel-like substance starts to solidify and harden. And so when it's tight and hard, it's not that your muscle is tight and hard, it's actually that connective tissue that is the structure that makes up everything. It's the outer layer of every cell, muscle, tissue. You have fascia around your organs. So the fascia only releases 3 ways. So it's sustained pressure. After about 3 minutes, your body releases the stuck energy, which is causing the physical tightness. There's a heat release. So that would be the pressure either with my hand, or you can use other tools to release the tissue. And I usually give clients that type of homework to do. Then there's rebounding, a jiggling or a jostling that can get your body to release holding patterns, because a lot of the tightness is a holding pattern in our body, not just a physical holding pattern. Like if I'm using my arms all day like this, I might get, have a tendency to have tightness here. But also when we have emotional patterns or subconscious layers, our body actually lays down tightness that mimics patterns that we have emotionally that are stuck too. So the jiggling or the jostling, the rebounding helps. And then the third arm of releasing your fascia is called unwinding. So unwinding is actually a natural process when you can really let your brakes take off and let your body go. Your body will actually start moving in space to go into positions to release the tissue on its own with its own inner wisdom. And so a lot of times clients will unwind on the table, whether it's with shaking or their arms and limbs will start moving, or their whole bodies. And really, when you can let yourself go, your body knows what it needs to do in order to get into a position to release the tightness. Exercise in general is not going to release your fascia. If you hold a stretch for multiple minutes, that tissue doesn't really start to release until after the 90-second mark. And then, really holding a stretch for 3 to 5 minutes where you're applying a tensile length to it, you can get that tissue to release. But those are really the main ways to get that tissue to.
Thanks so much for clarifying that. I think I must have been thinking lymph. I think I was thinking the lymph system. So yes.
So the lymph, and the lymph system, the blood vessels and the nerves, they all go through that fascial system. So when you're having problems draining your lymph, or you're having edema, whether it's from surgeries or radiation or anything like that, a lot of times there's actually a fascial restriction that's strangling the ability of the lymph to flow freely, because it's in our more superficial part of our body, and movement does help lymph flow. But if you have like a dam, let's say in a river, and there's like a fascial restriction here, it's putting over 2,000 pounds of force per square inch on your body. I mean, if you think about that, it's literally like a vice grip that's strangling the nerves, blood vessels, lymph vessels, so that fluid can't flow. So even if you are moving to try to get that to flow, if you have a restriction there, it's not going to go anywhere. So you have to open up that tissue so that all the fluids of your body can work better, even on a cellular level too. The cells can even work better to do their job. So
wow. Okay. Well, that makes, makes so much sense. Right.
Now, powerful.
Is inflammation, is that related to this? Because I know inflammation, I truly think it's our biggest issue with health.
Yes. So that inflammatory response in the body could be caused from, like I said, it could be emotional stress, can get our nervous system overactive and cause our body to get inflamed. Physical stress, whether it's I'm active or not active, sitting, in a position, sitting all day is stressful to the body, and that causes inflammation and tightness in the body. What we put in our body, what we eat, toxins, all causes inflammation. So the more open we can keep that system, it is the relay system for every other system in our body, the less inflamed you're going to be, because you're releasing the inflammation with releasing that fascial tissue, so everything can flow more easily. When you're applying pressure in an area for more than 3 minutes, the body actually releases its own anti-inflammatory hormones, interleukin-8 and interleukin-2b. And those are the natural anti-inflammatory hormones that will rush to the area to help decrease the inflammation that's there. So just the pressure, the gentle to moderate pressure alone for that longer period of time helps your body to naturally decrease inflammation.
Okay.
So yeah, it's pretty powerful stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I know when I've had massages in the past, now I've never done this sort of work, but I've had massages, and my massage therapist years and years and years ago would be like, oh, there's a spot. And she would just like hold her thumb down on it. Is that what she was doing, was trying to just release something along those lines?
If she was holding it, for that extended period of time, yes. with this particular type of myofascial release, it's not aggressive, it's not forceful, so you ease your way into the body. And there's no oils or anything I use, so I'm like directly on your skin, so I'm not sliding and gliding on your skin. I'm sinking down into your body like I'm sinking into wet clay, and then I kind of get in there and get stuck to tissues, and then as your body releases, I can go deeper and deeper. So yeah, holding pressure in areas where there's a hardness or density, that's what helps to get it to melt, is that sustained pressure for an extended period of time.
Wonderful. I know for me, well, the whole purpose of this show originally, when we started it, was about trauma and trauma recovery, and for survivors. And so the guests I was bringing on, it's just continued to blossom. But it is so fascinating that when you first started talking about how trauma is stored in the body, and yeah, the body keeps the score. Well, of course, such a great read. And so yeah, so one of the questions that I then have as a survivor and done so much incredible healing work is, I still have some stuck things, and so we just haven't been able to get to it in EMDR therapy, and we're working through some stuff in some somatic therapies. So is this something that you can get to without having to really tap into the traumas, without having to go revisit it?
Right. So a lot of people have that fear. Like I was working with a client earlier today, and who's having like nagging hip and shoulder pain. I'm like, it's really not your hip and your shoulder. It's your body your soul telling you there's something else deeper that needs healed. And so a lot of times then stuff starts to come out. Well, I experienced, maybe their partner committed suicide, or they were in an abusive relationship, or they were getting abused at work, or it could be layers and layers and layers of stuff. And so when we're in the trauma itself, we go into that primal response of that fight, flight, flee, and a lot of times we get frozen in that response. Even though we do therapy, we feel like we're healing emotionally, mentally, your body hasn't had the opportunity. It's like an energetic stuckness or imprint to release that stuck energy and go through that primal release, which is a thawing response, and then the energetic release. So a lot of the residual stuff that's stuck, you don't necessarily, when I say we have to feel it, in order to heal, we really have to move into our feeling intuitive senses and feel, not just somatic is such like a hot topic right now, but really what that is feeling through your body. Where in your body are you holding that pattern or that trauma? And sometimes it's just a matter of like, feel your shoulder aching. And when you feel the physical pain going underneath that, what emotion is under there? What is your body holding on to? And a lot of times when we've experienced trauma, we're so afraid to revisit the emotions or the sensations that we had during it. But it doesn't have to be a long, drawn out process. Sometimes it's literally just a wave of anger that comes up, or tears that come out, or grief, or sadness. And it doesn't necessarily matter what it's attached to, like what particular event. You don't have to relive it or consciously get your brain involved at all. It's just a matter of allowing yourself to dive into the feeling, feel it, and give your body permission to release it energetically through a physical release of the tissue, through an emotional release. Your body might shake or thaw out or move to get that imprint out, essentially, which is just stuck energy in the body. And so until it has the permission or feels safe to do that, it's still wreaking havoc on your body. So it manifests in anxiety, or people have neurological shaking, or they have pain, or they have migraines or tinnitus in their ear, or, I mean, the list of symptoms goes on, and I would say 8 to 9 times out of 10, it's not just physical. It's rooted so much more deeply in just, your body just needs to feel safe to let go and feel and release. And it can be a very short process. And if you're ready, subconsciously, it can be very rapid, or it might be a slower, more unraveling over time with whatever that person is most comfortable with. And ultimately, at the end of the day, you're always in control in a healing session. So if the emotion gets too overwhelming, you always have the ability to turn it off and to stop and to, stop the process. But typically people feel so good after they've like layer after layer just let go, that there's just that sense of lightness, even though it's intense, that happens.
Oh, I've said that when I used to talk about my EMDR sessions when I first started, and saying, I would just sob hysterically the drive home the next day, but I kept going back because you're right.
Yeah.
When you know it's working on a body soul, just that level, then yes, you go back and you do some more because you're like, oh, I feel it. I feel the
Yeah.
healing happening. Yeah.
I mean, we're feeling intuitive beings, and a lot of what we're taught is to suppress, feeling all those emotions, the whole range of them, right? So the deeper that I can feel and let go of the anger, the rage, the grief, the what, down here, the more fully I can fully experience the other side of like joy and happiness and deliciousness. So the more deeply you can allow yourself to feel all of those emotions and layers, the more rich and,
Yeah.
when you're going through the waves of healing, it's a never-ending journey, but it gets just more and more deep, and your day-to-day presence in your life just gets better.
Beautiful. So a question being that, so the majority of people who come to you then, or all of them, come with a physical pain, or can people come and say, like, I just have this feeling, like, or anxiety, or whatever it is that's going on with them? Can you work with that, or does it have to be a spot?
Nope, it doesn't have to be a spot. Even when someone just comes to me for maybe back pain, I never am just looking at the back. I'm looking at your whole body physically. So your body is going to show me based on how your holding patterns are and your tightness, and that's where I'm going to start to open your body up. But truly, I have people coming to me from like babies that are having issues to 90-some-year-old adults that are having pain to like everyone in between, athletes, people that have experienced trauma and are having physical symptoms, like whether it be neurological symptoms, anxiety attacks, PTSD, to physical like chronic issues. And so it's the whole gamut, honestly. Like people come to me for different reasons, usually word of mouth referrals. I have a few doctors that do refer me patients. There's a few doctors that are even though they practice traditional medicine, they'll do the test in the office, but they know because of their own healing journey that it's probably not physical. So let's say, I think you need to see Tanya for your neck pain, because they know it's not their neck. And so really the type of client that I energetically want to draw towards me is someone that really wants to do the deep healing work. Even if they're coming to me initially for neck pain, I know it's not about their neck. It's about something else deeper that needs healed. And so I tell people this can be very deep healing work to heal things that have been suppressed over time, or that really need to come up and out. And so that's the type of client that I personally draw to me energetically. And that's what I really enjoy and I'm really passionate about working with, because it's such a powerful modality to kind of get in there through the physical body as they can start to like let go.
Yes. Oh, I'm excited to, I'm signing up because I mean, well, I used to love being out on the beach. It was my favorite place on earth, walking along the shore and kicking my toes in the water. And just, it was just, obviously, I've said, I'm going to live on Hilton Head Island someday, vacationed here 20 years. And then we moved here. And over the past few years, I suddenly don't want to be out on the beach because I have this horrific fear of open spaces. And I'm like, all right, where is this all of a sudden coming from? And so, but I've done a tremendous amount of healing work. And so, we're talking about like, feeling exposed and all of that stuff. So is this something you could help someone with?
Yes. And so it's feeling through those layers of those emotions and teaching you how to go into the sensations and what's underneath that, and kind of going layer by layer. Sometimes maybe it's not from your experiences in this lifetime. It might be from other, lifetimes, or other, experiences you might have had. And sometimes those experiences you're having externally are a metaphor for something else internally that needs to be like looked at on a deeper level. And so,
Yeah. Ooh, that just resonated with me when you said that. I was like, ooh, that's good.
So,
No one said that yet.
So I had a client earlier today, was like, visiting some family members that she's trying to like disconnect from. And she has that awareness that that's going to be happening soon, even though she enjoys them. But being at the movies, she took a drink of water and she was having neck pain and she couldn't swallow. Well, it's not her neck, and it's not there's something wrong with her throat. It's literally that She's choking because there's so many things she wants to say and verbalize, and she can't because it's not time yet, right? But she's holding that all in. So of
Yeah.
course, where is that going to get you? Right here, you're like choking, like you could, because you can't voice your truth or say what you need to say. So things like that, or constipation, right? I can't go to the bathroom. Well, what am I unwilling to digest and process and be able to release and let go of? Because letting go is one of the hardest things people have a hard time doing on all levels. And so that literally is a physical representation in your digestive system of not being able to process something and then not being able to let it go. So
Oh,
like
that's
those
so
are just like,
fascinating.
yeah,
Go ahead.
examples.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, so like those are some visceral reasons. Like someone might come to me for like digestive issues. Well, I mean, yes, they have tightness in there that needs to be released, but it's not once we get to like releasing it physically, so it's more open and your organs can actually work better because I work a lot in people's abdomens. It is a metaphor for something else, So it's feeling into that and going into those layers, layer by layer, and starting to do some other things outside of the sessions, like your own work, to help to work through some of that stuff.
Yeah, interesting. And my mom's 87. She recently fell, broke her femur, and so she had to have a partial hip replacement. So I'm actually flying out tomorrow to go help her for 2 weeks. And but anyway, they kept telling me they had a catheter in her, and I kept asking, when are you going to do the void trial again? And they said, oh, she keeps failing it, keeps failing it. And I said, I'm going to talk to her, and because this isn't physical. This is, my mom has a history with urination and bowel movements related back to her childhood trauma. And I said, so I'm going to give her a little pep talk. Well, I said I could hear the eye roll over the phone, but they were like, okay, whatever. So I talked to her a few days later, and she said, oh, they took the catheter out. I'm able to go. I've been going on my own. She said, I listened to what you said. And so I had just told her, Mom, this is related back to your childhood trauma. And I said the thing about what you just said about, you just need to relax, breathe into it and let it go and just, allow it and feel it. And so anyway, she did, and it worked, and it was wonderful. And I was like, yeah. So you just saying that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes people have an easier time just doing it and others not. They need extra
Right.
like other things. So yeah, I mean, those are just metaphors from your body, your higher self just trying to tell you,
Yeah. Well, and she still has issues. So she's gone back, she's still struggling. And
Yeah.
so I'm thinking, oh my gosh, it would be so amazing to have you work on her. And so you could do something like that. I mean, can you do that type of work through a Zoom call?
So I could do some of the like emotional, like dialoguing and stuff like
Yeah.
that, getting her to feel into her body. Yes. But obviously the physical work, like I could even maybe direct you on how to put your hands on her body to do some gentle stuff. If you're there, which can be very simple and easy to help her to like physically, like to have some relief too. Because she probably has some tightness in her pelvic floor area and like her lower abdomen that's causing that too, because your bladder is just a fascial sac. And when you have tightness in there, it's compressing that fascial sac. So anytime it fills up with fluid, people can't, or they feel like they have to go, but then they, so it's kind of a combination of physical, emotional, all that stuff. And that's our root and sacral chakra, where we have to feel safe and protected, and
Oh, yeah.
issues around processing our emotions or relationships and all that stuff. It's all in that area. So it'll affect reproductive issues, urinary issues, digestive issues, all that stuff.
Wow. Yeah. And I had a very profound moment with that just recently. I had a kidney stone attack. And it was too huge to pass. It was a 13, and I guess a 5 is the max a human body can get out on their own. So anyway, I had a procedure done where they broke it up into smaller pieces, but they put a stent in, and I was struggling so terrible with these bladder spasms, and I don't like taking medications. And so they were like, oh, take this pill, take this pill, take this pill. And I was like, oh my gosh. Well, then I realized this is so much more than a physical sensation. This is taking me back to sexual abuse in my childhood, and that same sensation of pain that I was experiencing. And so because I've done the healing work, I was able to do the correlation and connect the two. And then I did some healing strategies with it and was able to work through it. But yeah, I'm glad you brought that up and that connection. And oh my gosh, just how our bodies are connected in so many ways. From traumatic events and then the physical, just that mind, body, soul connection.
Yeah, so likely that, the kidney stone, the experience of having to have the stent in could also be a trigger to get you to go a little bit deeper with that stuff, so that you can process and feel and let go and feel the discomfort and
Yes.
release another layer,
Yeah, I told myself that. I'm like, all right, kiddo, maybe now this is God / the universe saying, all right, now we're ready to go into this particular level of it.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my gosh. Well, obviously I could sit here and talk to you about all these amazing things that you're doing, but is there any particular subject that you wanted to touch upon that we haven't had a chance to talk about?
I would say, with all the healing work that I do, like right now I'm taking a group of people through like learning how to do shamanic journeying and go and do some journeying on their own to make contact with their guides, and tap into things that they need to heal on a deeper layer or just to get insights. And, as a healer working with people, my job is to just hold space. And of course I have tools that I can use, right? Whether it's the body work or sound healing or, dialoguing or coaching and helping people through that process. Really, it's so important to know that when you can really allow yourself to tap into yourself at a heart level, and you have all the power inside of yourself to heal and to get the answers and the guidance. And yes, you do need helpers along the way, whether it's your therapist or me or whoever, but knowing that you can feel good and you can heal. It is messy and it's hard, but if you're willing to do the work, the light at the end of the tunnel is being able to experience life on such a richer level in many ways. And we all have that ability inside to be fully healed and complete and, feel joy and to have everything that we want, need, and desire. We just have to be willing to do the work, and it's possible. But we all, I just hope that people realize how much power they have. And especially when people have experienced trauma, a lot of your power has been taken away through those experiences, And so the way you take your power back is by healing yourself. And especially generational trauma, it tends to, I'm sure you're not the first person that's experienced sexual abuse in your family line. And so a lot of times that is a pattern that's been happening ancestrally for years. And so you actually healing yourself, while it's beneficial for you, you're also energetically healing past generational lines and future generational lines. So you're the one doing the work for your ancestral line. And so that's pretty deep and profound as well. And so, there's so much.
I love it. And I'm smiling so big because I literally had that conversation with myself about, an hour ago, because I'm getting on a plane tomorrow and I haven't flown since I was 15 by myself. And so there's that, I'm terrified, excited, and empowered all in one big ball. And so I said to myself, kiddo, you getting on that flight tomorrow, it's 95 minutes. There's 95 minutes. You are it's not just a huge journey for yourself on this healing journey, but the impact that it's going to have on your ancestral line and your children and grandchildren in moving forward is huge. So I love that. I love that you said it.
Yeah. It's one of the collaborative books I wrote a chapter in it's all on ancestral healing. And so a lot of the other healers that wrote chapters, on their different modalities that they use, but it's all about how, when we really step up to the plate to heal ourselves and with whatever tool we choose, whether it's, EFT or EMDR or shamanic journeying or, any of the modalities, they're all just different tools to try to help you along the way. But when you heal yourself, you're really healing your ancestral line, but also the collective.
Oh, you took it out of my head. It's
Yeah.
just going to be like the collective.
Yeah. So, and we've all definitely experienced trauma in the last couple of years with COVID, regardless of how I say that to people now, like, regardless of how you felt about it, whether you were over here, it doesn't matter. We all experience trauma and we all have PTSD from COVID. And so all the suppressed trauma that we've experienced our whole entire lifetime that we've never dealt with or worked on or healed is all rushing to the surface. That's why you're seeing so much like stuff. People's shit's coming up, essentially. Yeah. Coming up for you to look at, and all that discomfort is really an opportunity when we're uncomfortable and it doesn't feel good. It's really an opportunity for you to like dig in and like do some of the healing work. Not just for yourself, but for everybody else too, because it's a ripple effect. Energetically, you are in an indirect way affecting your microcosm, which affects the macrocosm, which affects humanity, so yeah.
Yes. Amen. So I have another question being, do you have recordings of your sound bowl sessions, or can people access it? I only say that because, again, when I was a part of your I don't want to call it a presentation. It was just like this gathering that was so beautiful. Yeah. And it just was emotional. It touched me on a soul level, and so I just find it so beautiful and healing.
I have that 8/8 gate, Lions Gate. We recorded it. I actually have to upload it onto my YouTube channel, which is the Sacred Soul Guidance channel. I have some shorter videos up there of my sound healing, and but I don't have any like longer,
Well, I'm just telling people, check it out. Like, go check it out. Yeah. It's awesome. And yes, beautiful. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, again, I could sit and talk to you for hours on end because I love the work you're doing. I just, what a gift it is to the world, really. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Let me know if I can help or anything or provide.
Sure. So how do people connect with you? How can they get in touch?
Well, I don't know if you want to leave my email address, my website, sacredsoulguidance.com. Also, TanyaColucciMFR.com. They can reach out to me on Instagram, which is Sacred Soul Guidance, Facebook, email, text, whatever works for people. Is awesome. I'm accessible in many different ways. Yeah.
All right. Cool. All right. Well, thank you again. It's been a joy. All right. Well, everyone, thanks for joining us today on the Healing Place podcast. Remember, until next time, be gentle with yourself. Thanks. Bye-bye. Hey, everybody. Teri Wellbrock again. Just wanted to thank you for listening to the episode today and remind you to visit my website as well as the academy.teriwellbrock.com for the courses. But if you go to my website, teriwellbrock.com, you can sign up for my monthly Hope for Healing newsletter, which is also jam-packed with information and strategies and blog pieces and guest blog pieces and links to shows. And just a great space for, again, healing. Thanks for, again, being here and being a part of this healing space. I very much appreciate you. All right. Bye-bye.